in 1 minute, maybe. Approximately 6 months ago, I was looking at the internet, and one of our regional directors calls urgently to spare a minute and look at a site on the internet. The site was called Khazar Islands. I opened it, and I thought that it was one of these expensive, futuristic, three-dimensional computer games. I didn't believe it. Next thing I realized that there was a fellow man called Dr. Karim Al-Irzair again. Called him home and told me within 3 or 4 conversations that we should meet. Next thing I knew, I was in Switzerland with Dr. Al-Irzair. We spoke together 7 languages, not one language common. Next thing, I found out that even without having one language in common, we were communicating better than most people I have ever had. Next thing, to continue the story, I was in Azerbaijan. I don't know how I got there. But I met a gentleman by the name of Ibrahim Nirmali. I'm going to practice tonight. I'm going to say it 25 times every hour on the hour. This man impressed me in a dream. In a dream which he convinced me, and believe me, he was there, that he was going to make true. I was hoping that we would have a new client. So it was a very good client, but I did not get a client. I became a member of the family. Of a family that I'm now honored, privileged to stand in front of. In front of a prominent, intellectually qualified and world-relevant audience. So in advance, thank you for having me. My presentation is a fairly simple presentation about some concepts, finance, and success. It's a very simple presentation of financial markets. The objective is to entertain. The objective is to entertain and share some common know-how, just there might be a minuscule aggregate that at least one of us will need to earn our daily wage of success. Yes, thank you. Today, some know-how about what happens in the world of financial markets, which is in this day and age necessary for the very day you were born. What is the formula? A little bit of luck, know-how, and how to work. That formula has one result: success. To start off, on our road to success, we're going to live in financial terms, of course. We're going to look at the mechanisms that allow traders to obtain financial assets means that it's items which can be exchanged for equivalence. In other words, a commodity might be a petroleum, or it might be even computer chips. It's something that it doesn't matter if it's blue or red, it can be exchanged. And these things have a price, no matter where they are. These are usually traded in general markets. In markets where many commodities are traded, you have some markets in Chicago where you can trade, I don't know, apples, and you can trade computer chips, you can trade petrol. These are specialized markets. Markets where only one type of commodity is traded. And usually, petroleum is a good example of that. Very much so in view of other entities which try to govern OPEC being one thing. For those people who are taking pictures of this, at the last page I have my email, so anybody who wants to have this presentation, I will very gladly send it to you if it's convenient. The interactivity or intermediary between those who have money resources and those without them who will participate in the state which regulates resources. That is what financial markets are. People who have money and people who need it. According to the data quotation of financial assets, we have two types of markets. Primary markets is when a new issue comes out of the market. That is when we have an entity emitting bonds, emitting shares, and goes to the market and offers it to the market. They go to the stock exchange. They go and sell it to any one of us on a personal basis. Then you have the secondary market. Once it has been sold, it's sold once again. And it's a type of paper, like a bond. It has a maturity date. And it is on secondary markets and derivatives. The functions of financial markets are to establish. When we talk about financial markets, we often just kind of intuitively know that they're there, and you go with money by itself, but they have functions. They really manage how we buy and sell. They manage how we live in our daily life. Financial markets first establish mechanisms to facilitate the contact between participants in transactions, reduce costs and intermediation, and manage cash flows of products or markets that are exchanged between the traders involved. Sometimes we wonder if they really reduce the cost of intermediation. It can be argued that they don't when we think about the infrastructure that are required. We think about traders who make $250 million before they're 30 years old, so it's from our pocket. However, if they did not exist, people like this, we would not have financial markets. And we would not be able to go out and sell paper or even have money in our pocket, because the money itself is negotiated in financial markets. The types of markets are basically four. The option markets, over-the-counter markets, organized exchanges, and intermediate financial markets. This is the mechanics of it. The option markets are conducted for brokers. The option market is pretty well the same whether you are selling furniture or if you are selling some kind of financial instrument. They are based on centralized facilities for clearing houses. They are negotiated through one entity. In other words, it does not go from one person or one company to another. It goes to a clearing house where it is distributed afterwards. Imagine if we did not have a clearing house, every bank would have to go and find another bank. For example, if we have one bank here in Istanbul and we want to do a negotiation with a bank in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, you would have to send the paper there. The clearing house is centralized. It goes to that clearing house and then they get distributed. So it is done through commission agents or brokers who execute trades and open a competitive clearing process. The information about offers to buy, that means bid prices and offers to sell, prices, is centralized in one location which is accessible to all buyers and sellers. For example, a computer network. When I started in finance, we did not have computers. And we had to work with messengers. We had to work with telexes. Some of us remember those. Now on the computer, you don't even have to go to the clearing house. The centralized facility is not necessarily a place where buyers and sellers physically meet. It rather is an institution that provides buyers with access to both trading processes. Who knows here what an initial public offer is? Can somebody guess what is this? You know about it. Anybody else? These people are all brokers. These are the sellers and these are the buyers. How would you like to be buying and selling a share, for example, Facebook? Facebook made fame for itself because it was one of the most awaited IPOs, initial public offering in the past decade. And many people bought into it. It started here. And the highest bid obviously was at $42, and it was overpriced. How many people have participated in an auction here? Please keep in hand. You have participated. Nobody else has participated in an auction. Buying furniture. When you go and get all excited about buying something in an auction, and then you get home and you're sorry you bought it, and you're sorry because you paid too much for it. Anyway, the second type of market is the over-the-counter. The first one is organized. The over-the-counter is, we will not say disorganized, but it's much free. You can go and sell from buyer to seller directly, or you can go through an agent on any market anywhere. They have no centralized mechanism facility for trading. Instead, market is a public market consisting of dealers spread across the country or the world who make market in some type of asset. Dealers themselves will bid and ask prices and stand ready to buy or sell with anyone who chooses to trade on these posted prices. The dealers provide customers with flexibility in trading than brokers, because dealers can offset imbalances in demand and supply while direct trading out of their accounts. What do you mean by that? The over-the-counter is one of the largest markets, $683 billion in 2008. So we're talking about leaders and when we're talking about dealers and brokers, there's a difference. The dealers, they sit in the market and they take positions. They have their paper themselves. In other words, a dealer will have bond or a share, and he will buy from his own account or for the account of the company for which he works. And he will buy. A trader will buy and sell on the account of a third party. In other words, if I want to sell a paper, I have somebody, I tell a trader to sell it for me, and when he sells it, I pay him the commission. So the trader does not take the risk of having it fall, the price fall, or the advantage that he might, the paper might increase in price. Dealers have a language. All traders, by the way, traders are dealers as well as brokers. Everybody who's in the intermediation business is called a trader. Now, they have their conversation, they have their own language. Obviously, when they are in a stock exchange, they get a lot. They can't hear each other. So, obviously, gasoline in trader talk. Obviously, January. They just the other day they will show January to 3 or 4 the day, whatever it is, and obviously it's usually the same year where they are trading at that moment. So we go back, we were talking about we have dealers, traders, brokers, and stockbrokers. A stockbroker is just a broker who specializes in selling stock, but usually will sell any kind of paper, any kind of security. This is how today stockbrokers are dealing. With the market going up and down, they get a bit busy, and the roller coaster is probably less difficult for them than being a broker of stocks or bonds. Organized exchanges provide options and over-the-counter market features. Specifically, organized exchanges permit buyers and sellers to trade with each other in the centralized location of stocks. However, securities are traded on the floor of the exchange with the help of specialist traders who combine broker and dealer operations. There are so many types of papers, so many conditions that a trader on his own cannot make a decision very easily. He can understand 1 or 2 or 3 markets, but he cannot understand most markets. So they are usually next to a consultant who would have them to make decisions. Now, dealers play very important role in the banking system. Dealers work not so much for money, but for the excitement. A dealer will easily make 5, 10, 15 transactions in 1 minute maybe. And each transaction has to be thought over because there is a risk to it. Very often it either, and this is when the danger comes in, is sells the paper and realizes the paper has a potential of increasing in price. So nice to buy back, and it doesn't increase in price. So he said, well, if I paid, for example, $100 for one share, and it went down to $19, I am sure it's going to go up. So I will buy twice as much to cover my loss and gain again. But guess what? The stock falls again. And this way he starts working, and at times they lose the idea of reality and can get the bank, can bankrupt the bank. These brokers often have no thought for selling by. The banks believe that, and usually they do, they have a self-discipline to know when to stop. Other times they don't. There are many examples. One of the examples, one of the most famous examples was a bank called Avrasya Bank, which in a couple of hours, one of the biggest banks in the world, just went broke. That's why the stock exchange in New York many years ago, and how would it look today? These are the top 10 stock exchanges in the world. And you can see these are amounts in billions of dollars over a year for 2011. So you're talking about $14,242 billion in trading just for New York Stock Exchange. The next fourth entity is what we call an intermediate financial markets. The intermediation financial markets and financial intermediaries help transfer funds from savers and investors to borrowers by issuing certain types of financial assets to savers and receiving other types of financial assets to borrowers. In other words, we're talking about banks. What did we say now? A banking institution will take one type of financial asset, they'll take dollars, they'll take cash, and they will convert it into another type of financial asset. They will convert it into a checking account or into a savings account. You no longer have the currency in your pocket, you no longer have the coins in your pocket. That has been converted into an account, being moved by a computer, being moved by a checkbook. It's an asset in itself. This can be done only by banks because they are regulated for it. We cannot do it. We can do it for one or two persons, one or two friends or so on, but as an entity, only banks can do it. Now, there are all kinds of banks. The banks usually tend to specialize. The commercial banks, they specialize in mostly short-term transactions. They take funds, they take deposits, and these deposits usually stay there for as long as you want, or if it's usually a deposit, will stay for a long period of time. But as far as the bank is concerned, it's almost 0 days because you can pick it up anytime you want to go. But they have other instruments like certificates of deposit, which can last 90 days, maybe a days, 1 year. That's always very short. And they lend short. They will receive money for very short periods, and they will usually not risk lending for a long term because obviously it's risky. The way that they look for safety is that they always put some money aside, usually in a central bank, central bank system, which is maybe 10% or 15%. And that is what protects them. When these 15%, 10% from all the banks get into the central bank, it makes a big loss. So if one bank, one day, has had more money coming out than coming in, they can go to the central bank and ask for money from that pot of which all the other banks created to those small percentages. But of course, they have to pay interest for it. Now, the rest of the banks, they have the same situation, but they lend and receive money for longer periods of time. An investment bank will be able to go loans for 3 years, 6 years, 10 years, even up to 20 years. Again, they receive longer term loans. They receive, they issue bonds, which maybe for 10 years, 20 years, etc. And we have a new breed of banks, which are micro banks. Up to very short ago, about 10, 15 years ago, people who did not have very much money, people very much agriculture, in the agriculture sector, for example, they needed money to buy seed. But firstly, they were too far from the bank, and second, the bank would not lend them because they did not have the guarantees, because they did not have the documentation that they demand. So what happened is that they created these micro banks, which were spread enough on all of the people, and they have been quite successful. We have the development banks, which are usually countries, and they use these banks for large projects, even not only by countries, by regions. For example, if we have the Andean, it's called we have a number of them which finance socially relevant projects. We have export-import banks which finance exporters. Foreign countries, these are usually, each country has one of these for their exporters. We have mortgage banks which specialize in financing real estate, and the universal banks, which are banks which can do all of those functions, which are usually very, very big banks, and they're not allowed in all countries, and so on and so forth. You will find that finance people are creative enough to make a bank for special purpose when the purpose is there. What we're talking about is the basic types of financial assets. The most common is equity and debt instruments. If you have a company, and I mentioned that most of us here are either owners of our own company or have some ownership in a company, whether it's to the stock market or to the trend. This is the demonstration that you own part of the company, and these are the shares negotiated by the stockholders when they are subscribed into a formal exchange. Debt instruments are loans, bonds, commercial paper, and promises to pay. A loan, we all know what a loan is, but the loan from a bank is not necessarily that bank gives it to you. That bank might give it to you, but if it's a very big loan, might distribute it to other banks. And the loan will be given out in small quantities, and these small quantities can be traded on themselves. Bonds are papers which are much more flexible than the loan. It's essentially a paper which says that you will pay under certain circumstances at the end of a given period, and this is traded through a stock exchange. The loans are not traded stock exchanges, but the bonds usually are. Now, at times, you can issue bonds and place them on the market without going to a stock exchange, without going through a central entity. These are called private placements, and they're not necessarily private in terms that they are secret, but because they are not advertised, they're usually safer for the issuer because he does not risk the fall in price of the bond. In other words, here's a bond. If this bond has today a yield, for argument's sake, 12%. And next week, the interest rates go up. So bonds will be paid 14%. The old bond yielded 12% and no longer very good because it yields less. So people will sell it for a lower price. And if you are the owner of the bond, you are the issuer of the bond, you don't want for your bonds to fall down in the market because your next issue will be probably more difficult to place. Commodities, well, we talked about the commodities as a concept, and they're not necessarily tangibles. It's not only urea or computer chips, they can be contracts. If I have a contract to buy a large quantity of potatoes, that contract has value. And it has value for the person who thinks that the prices in the future are going to be higher and they can sell the contract for more. And derivatives, which are things which are created, conditions which are created by commodities themselves. So, we come back to the same program which we had before, but not work. Now we have strategy. And our strategy for financing is based on 6 points: timing, diversification, all the papers in terms of, well, you're investors, you don't want to have all high-risk papers, low-risk papers, only for long-term papers. You always want to be certain level of risk, which we call risk tolerance, and the expectations we have of the market. And all that is controlled by planning. Of course, we have payment plan. We plan to pay as soon as we have manifested exactly the best planning even things up. Success, I think, is a personal matter. For me, success might be look like deals around the ways to become president of the country or living in peace. Finances, we want to have more. We want to own less, be more secure, have enough, or not to have to worry about it. For Montreal, where I am, to Istanbul. Thank you.
Lessons to industry.
For those who want a copy of the presentation.
Do you have a question? Yeah, please. Is there any questions?
I can't see the person who's asking. Somebody has a question? Somebody was asking a question.
Soru sormaya yok yani. Thank you very much.